When I think of India and the United States, I think of two individuals on the dance floor, both well turned out, quite attracted to each other, willing to dance with each other and make an evening out of it. And yet, more often than not, they end up choosing different partners, thinking the morning after an evening of attraction that why they missed out to know each other better and enjoy each other's company. And even the time they do go on the dance floor, they dance a twist rather than a tango. And I don't have to tell you that the twist is a very energetic dance form, but it lacks the passion of a tango. If ever there were two countries meant to be close to each other, then it surely has to be the United States and India. And yet, despite this awareness, we are close but not in an embrace. If ever two countries are quite unlike each other culturally, philosophically, and sociologically, and yet are in an enduring bear hug, then surely it is Russia and India. I agree with some commentators who say that despite that now famous neutrality of India in the Ukraine war and our philosophy of strategic autonomy, we are in a sense giving Putin a free pass for all that he has done in the Ukraine conflict. My argument is a little different. What stops us from crossing our own red lines and throwing our lot in with the West completely? What is our greatest fear if we cross the Rubicon and think of condemning Russia, then, in a very real sense, help to make or dismantle a new world order? In short, what is that unseen force that stops us from crossing the dance floor and taking in arms a partner who is actually quite like us, but also is in a sense prepared to dance in lockstep with us? The simple answer to this vexed question is that India carries the burden of history unlike no other country. And in a strange way, so does Russia. The Russian capacity for suffering and bitterness is unparalleled in the modern world. And America, despite its misadventures in Vietnam and Iraq and Afghanistan and other parts of the globe, is free of the tyranny of history. Not without reason, it is described as a young nation, though an old and mature democracy. The innocent yet the ugly American, as Graham Greene once described America, is a fact of life. Let me expand on this theme a bit more. Our burden of history, quite simply, is that we have earned our self respect through enormous sacrifice and hardship, be it through the freedom struggle or the various conflicts that have been imposed on us, or even the period when we faced famine and food shortages, which is a long time back. We have been through it all, and now in the present, we are absolutely unwilling to compromise, even in the slightest, with our self respect. As a matter of fact, it is not commerce or military prowess or ideology that defines us. It is the concept of self respect that defines us. It is this concept that is our raison d'etre, or the reason for our existence. The rendition of Vande Mataram and the clarion call of Bharat Mata is expressionism of our concept of self respect. And when liberal thinking in the country and certain pockets of communities make fun of these concepts, they mess with the very idea of what makes us a country and what defines us. But that is a debate for another time. Self-respect being the raison d'etre of our existence, we look at our neighbor Pakistan and we take lessons for what happens to nation states that wholeheartedly embrace superpowers, and where does it finally leave them? Today, Pakistan is on the rails, its innards showing to the world, a mess of a client state sandwiched between America, China, and even Russia. If this is the fate of client states, we don't want any part of it. We all remember Pakistan when it joined the US-led alliance CENTO in 1955 and put in its lot with America. It came to a point when it served as a client state for the US in the 90s war on terror. And what did this alliance do for Pakistan? It brought the war of terror to Pakistan, radicalized it completely, sank it into poverty, Pakistan bore the brunt of millions of refugees who came from Afghanistan, and it threw up a corrupt and destabilizing polity. And that continues to the present day. But more than all that, Pakistan's name was mud all over the world. Any kind of iota of self-respect evaporated from the state of Pakistan. This is what India fears can happen if we throw in our complete lot with one side. And make no mistake about it, this is the burden of history which we understand and want no part of it. We were a nation once colonized, and we developed our shield of self-respect and strategic autonomy to never again go back to those times of being under someone else's yoke. Many in the media and in think tanks in our country do not understand this line of approach. There is this abrasive commentator Tavleen Singh who went almost hysterical in one show that why had India not condemned that demon Putin? Tavleen Singh and her ilk have no idea or inkling of the concept of self-reliance, self-respect, and independent autonomy that helps to keep our head high and resist joining camps and alliances come hell or high water. Such an approach does not always sit well with our partners. Even as recent at the 2+2 summit in Washington yesterday, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, after realizing India would not budge from its neutrality and take sides, subtly held out a threat when he said that the US was monitoring human rights abuses in India. We all understand what this subtle warning meant. Toe the line or else. There is a sanction regime out there, and sanctions could be coming your way, and this of course could happen using the fig leaf of human rights abuses, Kashmir, or even the charge that democracy is being undermined in India. These are all old games, and India is used to taking in the pressure. No one said that the path of self-reliance and strategic autonomy and self-respect would be easy. But this is the choice India has made, and despite the wrinkles and the warts, it still holds its head high in the community of nations. This is Juggi Bhasin signing off for the CAA show, in which CAA, as all of you know, is conversations and analysis. Press the big red subscriber button to join our show. Subscription is of course completely free. Goodbye and cheers on that note.